because we are eventually going to run out of the raw materials that we have, and we will need more of them. So we have to sustain ourselves with what we have and recycle them, replenish or do without. Some of the things we have in the future that we have now that we won't need in the future, like gasoline, for example. We're probably going to have cars run on different sources of renewable sources of power in the future, maybe as close as 10 years from now. Environment, falling out of control, like a condor diving for its prey. Life. The environment is important. We're going to have to live with what we have for the rest of our lives, and all the future generations are going to have to live with whatever we leave.
It's just as big of a problem here as it is over in the Middle East and in other countries in Central America, because it may not be people dying in the street, but there's still violence behind closed doors, racism and sexism and everything like that. Yeah, that too, because I know people who get hit all the time by husbands or wives, and children who are abused by their parents, just because, like a girl who's abused by her mother because her mother wanted a son instead of a daughter. No one can really make you do what you don't want to do. Watching a violent movie not necessarily makes you go out and want to kill someone, because little kids are starting to know better. That's only with certain people that they'll watch something and then want to go out and do it. Like, if you come from a stable environment, a home environment, that when they tell you that something's bad, just because you see it on TV doesn't make it good. The parents should just tell the kids it's bad ahead of time, so when they see something like that, they'll say, oh, that's bad, and they're doing a bad thing, and I don't want to do it. And there should be more programs if parents don't talk to their children, and they should go to these programs to help them talk to their children more. Because I know a lot of parents who can't talk to teenagers. They just ignore their kids.
A lot of people take it for granted and cut down trees and use them for other things, and it's disintegrating, and I'm worried that it's not going to be as pretty later on as it is now. Well, I think it'll still be here, but I don't think that I think that the cities will just expand and there'll be less and less. So I think that there'll be less when I grow up. Less trees, and like recycling paper helps to reuse wood so that we don't have to cut as many trees down if we reuse things.
What else?
And it just helps cut down the amount of forest that we ruin. A good feast tonight. Gotta kill this sucker. Like recycling all the time and not littering, going to like a trash can and throwing things away, and not cutting down trees if you don't really need to cut down trees, and not hunting, things like that, unless it's necessary, like just because you want to like go hunt a deer just because you want to show, like get the skin off of it and show people and hang it on your wall. I mean, I don't think that's fair. Cruelty, killing of wildlife, like destroying precious gems, unfair. Because I was thinking about how some animals, like in rainforests and stuff, that are becoming extinct, and how it's not fair, and they're really precious, and soon, you know, if people keep killing off these really
precious animals, and we're not gonna have any left to look at in the future. And so that's what I meant by like destroying precious gems and killing them, and it was cruel to them. So we shouldn't act like we're superior to animals because they live in this world too. I want to change what's going on in the environment, and I want to make sure it's clean and everything's there for my children.
Addicted and really bad stuff can happen to you. And I don't think there's any right reasons for starting. I think maybe instead of like doing drugs or smoking or drinking, you should go to your counselor or something. And I don't think really anyone is like starting because of family problems. It's really because of peer pressure. Because it affects like not only the high school kids, but it's also like affecting the middle school kids and my friends and people I know. They do this stuff, and although like we're learning about it in school, it still happens, even if you know the consequences.
You need some pressures to make you work, but if you pressure someone too hard, it can force them to do bad things. People, like, one of their friends they might pressure them into acting some way that they aren't just so they can fit in with the crowd or something like that. Well, they're the same because if you pressure someone too hard, you can force them to do bad things, like suicide or something not quite as extreme. Or if you pressure someone to do something bad, like something they don't want to do, it can force them to things like peer pressure them into drinking or smoking or something like that.
Sexism is the separation of men and women and how they're like harassed or how they're different and how being different makes it harder for one sex. I think it's real because there are women and they don't get as many chances as men or as fair chances, and they don't have like some equal rights as men. Like for the same job, they don't get paid as much as men do, and they do the same job. Well, I think that if more people tell if they're sexually harassed or raped, then those people, the people who rape them or harass them, may get like caught and punished. But not a lot of people tell if they're raped or harassed, and that's one of the problems.
Well, I think it's important because like the environment's falling apart and like the greenhouse effect, and it's like already starting. And I wish like that like the environment was like perfect, because like right now it's like all polluted and stuff. Everybody's littering, and when like people shouldn't do that because they're just making it like a worse place for their children and their children's children. So like if people don't start doing anything now, it's not going to be a pretty picture in like 50 years or something, 10, I don't know. Well, my family and like we always recycle and stuff, and like we don't litter as much. We don't like throw trash like on the ground. So like, because you're just making a worse place for your children and like their children. So if people who don't recycle, they should start doing it now, because like it might be too late to do it. like in about 5 or 10 years.
Danger. Losing precious things, like a candle in a room, environment. While the candle is burning out, just as we are wasting this planet. I really do think that we should do something, because if we don't, this planet won't exist. Well, cars shouldn't. This planet won't exist. Well, cars shouldn't use as much oil. So we should build cars that aren't as powerful, but still work until we can use electric cars, solar cars, things like that. I would say that Bill Clinton should try to make the Congress make laws to maybe change some things so it would be better.
When the time comes, you're not really sure. I'm sure you're not really. It's peer pressure. Yeah.
What is peer pressure?
It's when you have to make a decision. Well, you don't want to look stupid, or you don't want to look like you're a loser or something, you know? If you're, let's say you wanted to hang out with the most popular people in your school, and you wanted to be popular too, and they all did drugs or, drank and smoked and stuff, and like you weren't really into that stuff. You said to yourself when you were younger, I'm not going to do drugs. I'm not going to get my life messed up, and then maybe your friend or something said, let's do it or something. You should mingle with the crowd, and that's the only way you'll probably fit in, so you do it. I think a lot of teens are doing drugs for the wrong reasons. It's addictive. That's it.
It's addictive, that's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why chasing the lost religion of guilty feelings of belonging? Yes,
I think that women do get treated badly sometimes, but then again, they think that they get treated badly all the time, and they think they don't have as much rights, but they really do. And they're always talking about how they're treated bad by men and how men get more power, but it's not true. Because they have as much rights as we do. Men have more power than women sometimes, and the women can't do as much. You see these things like these court cases, how women are taking men to court for sexually harassing them, on the job, because men are taking advantage of women. They're abusing how much power they have.
Well, some have tried out, and I know of a girl that tried out for football and didn't make the team because she was a girl.
Sure.
Yeah. And I know a lot of my friends that want to play football, but
You have friends, girls?
who want to play football, but their parents won't let them because they think they'll get crushed or something like that. It's like a man's job. People say men have to go make money for their families, and girls stay home, their wives stay home and watch the kids and clean the house. So we don't see many secretaries as men or housewives or house people that take care of the kids and stay home, and the wives go out to work. I think that everybody should be paid the same, no matter if they're male or female. Just because they're different. Well, sort of. They shouldn't have to get different rights. I mean, we're all people.
Like pressure sometimes can push people to their limits, do something drastic that they don't really want to do. Like peers can make you do drugs or alcohol or anything that they didn't originally plan on doing. But parents can like pressure them to do well. I think like doing well is basically what every parent wants their kids to do, whether they had that as a child or not. They feel that it's important. Pressures can like slight pressures, nothing like if you're pressured a lot, then you can do something you don't want to do. But if you're pressured just a little bit, like it gets you psyched and you perform better in here. And you can do whatever you want better. It can make you strive to reach a goal or something you want to do. It helps sometimes, but it needs to be controlled. It can't be too great or too little, or you just won't either get enough or try to do too much and it'll hurt.
Violence, carrying weapons like a madman, help. Well, personally, I don't face it, but it's a problem and it's around and something that we have to help get rid of and all. I don't know. It's like, see, the parents, they should like teach their kids and say it's not good because it could kill people. You just have to like get educated about it in schools, I guess. I think that we have to like get a little bit off television because there's like a real lot of it on television, and it's like kids watch it and they think it's cool. And then, so I think the parents, they should be the ones telling them that it's not good and not to do it.
What
Get
shows?
punished.
What shows are you thinking of?
I'm just thinking of like like movies or I don't know, like cop shows with guns, I don't know, knives. I just want to like figure out why people are doing violent on schools and on TV. Yeah, there's a lot of violence on TV. They learn from the TV and they bring it to school. Get the bad people off the streets and get guns and knives off the street and stop selling them.
There's all different kinds of peer pressures. A lot of kids get pressure from their parents to do stuff to get good grades. Sometimes they get too much pressure and they cross the line and sometimes do drugs, which they have no control of. Well, you should kind of be in between. You should not ignore your work, but you should learn to have a little fun. I mean, not like be like a total party animal and never do any work, but you should learn to just do a little of just do a little of both. Just work a little, and you can enjoy doing your work.
Because it goes around in every school with all kids. Some parents put a lot of pressure on them, and some parents just encourage them. And a lot of kids put pressures on them to do what they want to do, and not what you feel like doing, what's right or wrong. And it's just going around a lot. If performing could be in different ways, like if your parents pressure you to perform in sports, you could get pumped up and play well, and same for studying. But if they put too much pressure on you and you don't accomplish what they want you to accomplish, you could feel really bad about yourself and get down on yourself. I think it's parents, because they're with you all the time. And peers, you can say no, and you don't have to feel as bad about yourself, but if you let your parents down, you're feeling a lot worse about yourself. And a lot of parents feel that their kid should be what they could not accomplish. But some parents just want to encourage them to do the best they can.
My name is Jenny Woodward, and I'm in this group because violence is something that happens in the everyday world, whether it's in schools or on TV or in different countries. It really doesn't matter because people are getting hurt. The streets, the shotguns firing, the smoke from the firing, I feel in the dark. It's violence. Well, violence is a dark thing. It's not something that's out in the open. A lot of people do it in hiding in the United States, like child abuse and hitting your wife or your husband or someone. So it's a dark thing. Well, I think parents should teach their children that fighting and violence and everything in that category is not a good thing, and that people, if you shoot someone, they're dead and they'll never come back. So the violence that the first person does reflects, like if someone were to get in a fight, then the person who, one person beats up on another person and the other person wants to get revenge, so that the violence is reflected on the violence.